She is nothing but a thief. Child, where did you get that bracelet?
Get your dirty hands off my oranges. Denise Carter shouted so loud that the whole Atlanta market froze. Maya Johnson stood beside her little wooden cart with 3 oranges pressed against her chest. Her fingers shook. Her lips parted, but no words came out. The oranges were not stolen. They were all she had left. Yet no one asked her. No one waited. No one cared. Denise stepped closer in a cream designer suit, gold bracelets shining under the morning sun. Behind her, her fruit stall looked rich and perfect. Bright signs, clean shelves, young workers in matching shirts, a card machine on the counter. Customers lined up beneath a wide white tent. Maya had 1 cracked umbrella, 2 wooden crates, a faded handwritten sign. Oranges, 3 for $1. Dust on her sandals, sweat on her neck, fear in her eyes. Denise pointed at Maya's hands. You stole from my stall. A man in the crowd lifted his phone. A woman whispered, she looks guilty. Maya shook her head fast. No, ma'am. I bought these before sunrise. I have the receipt. Denise smiled like the answer amused her. A receipt? From you. Laughter moved through the crowd. Small at first, then louder. Maya swallowed hard. Inside her torn canvas bag were Caleb's medical papers. Her little brother had been coughing all morning in their small rented room, trying to hide the blood-streaked mucus in an old towel so Maya would not worry. She had promised him medicine. She had promised him food. She had promised him she would come back before dark. Please, Maya said, her voice breaking. I'm not a thief. I just need to sell enough today for my brother's medicine. Denise stepped so close that her shadow covered Maya's cart. Every poor girl has a sad story. The words hit Maya hard. The market went quiet for one breath. Then the whispers returned. Maybe she did steal. Denise would not lie. These street sellers are always trouble. Maya reached in her bag with trembling hands. Medical bills spilled out first. A clinic note. A water bottle. A landlord's warning folded in half. She searched faster, breathing faster, trying not to cry in front of the phones. It is here. I can prove it. Please, just give me a moment. A security guard near the market gate looked at the papers on the ground. His face softened. Miss Carter, maybe we should check the cameras first. Hope rose in Maya's chest. Small, weak, almost alive. Denise turned slowly toward him. Are you questioning me in my own market lane? The guard looked down. Hope died right there. Maya finally found a receipt. She held it up with both hands. Here, please look. It has today's date. Denise snatched it from her. She glanced at it for less than a second. Then she dropped it into a puddle of orange juice and dirt. Maya stared as the paper sank. Her proof. Her dignity. Her last defense. Why would you do that? She whispered. Denise leaned in. Because trash does not become proof just because you fold it neatly. The crowd laughed again. Phones moved closer. Maya bent down to save the receipt, but Denise stepped on it with her clean white heel. Leave this market. Maya froze. No, please no. Her voice became smaller. This spot is all I have. Caleb is waiting for me. I cannot go home with nothing. Denise lifted her chin. Then kneel and beg somewhere else. Maya did not want to kneel. Not in front of strangers. Not in front of cameras. Not in front of people who had already decided she was nothing. But she saw Caleb's thin face. She saw the empty medicine bottle beside his pillow. She saw the rent notice on the floor. Slowly, Maya lowered herself beside her cart. Her knees touched the hot pavement. She hugged her torn bag to her chest. Please, she whispered, just let me sell today. After today, I will move. I promise. Please do not shame me like this. The silence around her was cruel. Nobody helped. Nobody spoke. Nobody stepped forward. Then a weak voice came from beside the bus stop. Child, may I have one orange? Everyone turned. An old black woman sat near the wall in a faded gray shawl. Her shoes were split open. Her hands shook in her lap. Her face looked hungry, tired, and forgotten. People had stepped around her all morning as if she were part of the pavement. Denise rolled her eyes. Wonderful. Now the beggars are joining the thieves. More laughter. Sharper laughter. Maya looked at the old woman. Then at her ruined cart. Then at the oranges rolling in the dirt. She wiped her tears with the back of her wrist, picked up the cleanest orange she could find and walked over with shaking legs. She placed it gently into the old woman's hands. "I am sorry it is bruised," Maya said, "but it is sweet inside." The old woman looked up. Her eyes were tired, but not empty. They were sharp, watching, remembering. "You have nothing," she whispered. "And you still give?" Maya tried to smile. "My mother used to say hunger hurts the same in every body." The old woman's face changed, just a little, like those words had touched an old wound. Denise clapped once. Hard. Enough theater. She turned to the guard. "Throw her card out." Maya rushed back and grabbed the wooden handle. "Please do not. This is my work. This is my brother's medicine. This is our food." The guard hesitated again, but Denise pointed at him. "Now!" He pulled. The cart tipped. Oranges burst across the pavement. One crate cracked. Maya fell forward, catching herself with one hand. Her bag slipped from her shoulder, and Caleb's medical papers scattered like white birds over the dirty ground. A boy laughed while filming. Someone shouted, "Say sorry to Miss Carter." Maya gathered the papers quickly, tears dropping onto the ink. "I am sorry," she whispered, though she had done nothing wrong. Denise stepped over the oranges and looked down at her. "Sorry does not clean this market. Leave." Maya stood slowly, holding only her torn bag and 4 bruised oranges. Her whole body looked smaller. Her cart lay tilted behind her. Her proof was ruined beneath Denise's heel. Her brother's medicine was slipping further away with every second. The old woman by the wall struggled to her feet, still holding the orange Maya had given her. She took one step toward Maya. Then she stopped, her eyes locked on Maya's wrist. During the fall, Maya's sleeve had slipped back. A thin old bracelet showed against her dark skin. It was scratched, almost black with age, but 2 tiny letters were still carved into the metal. Evu. The old woman's hand flew to her mouth. The orange nearly fell from her fingers. Her face went pale with shock, like the past had just walked into the market alive. "That bracelet," she whispered. Maya looked down, confused and broken. "What about it?" Denise snapped. "Do not listen to her. She is crazy." But the old woman did not look crazy now. She looked terrified. She looked heartbroken. She looked certain. At that same moment, a black luxury car rolled to the curb outside the market. Slow, silent, expensive. The back window lowered halfway. A man in a dark suit looked out. His eyes followed the old woman's trembling hand straight to Maya's wrist. The market grew still. Even Denise stopped smiling. The old woman took another step forward, her voice shaking as she said, "Child, where did you get those letters?" The old woman's question froze the market. "Child, where did you get those letters?" Maya Johnson looked down at the old bracelet on her wrist. Evu, 2 tiny letters. Scratched, dark, almost hidden by years of dust, sweat, and poverty. She had worn it since she was little. She had slept with it, worked with it, prayed with it, but she had never seen anyone look at it the way the old woman was looking now. The black luxury car stayed at the curb, silent and expensive. Its polished door reflected everything Maya wanted to hide. Her broken cart, her bruised oranges, her stained medical papers, her knees still marked by the hot pavement. Denise Carter saw the crowd change. The laughter faded. The phones lowered. Even the security guard stopped moving. For the first time, Denise was not controlling the room. She hated it. "Why is everyone staring?" Denise snapped. "It is a dirty old bracelet. Poor girls pick up trash and call it treasure." Maya pulled her wrist close to her chest. "It is not trash." Her voice shook, but she did not look away. "It was my mother's." Denise laughed. "Your mother gave you stolen jewelry too?" The words hit Maya in the face. Her lips trembled. She wanted to answer. She wanted to scream. But all she could see was Caleb at home, lying on the thin mattress, waiting for medicine she still had not bought, waiting for his sister to come back with hope. "Please," Maya said. "I do not want trouble. I just need to take my things and leave." The old woman stepped closer, still holding the bruised orange Maya had given her. Her gray shawl hung loose on her shoulders. Her shoes were split open. To everyone else, she looked weak, forgotten, easy to ignore. But her eyes were different now. They were sharp with fear. sharp with memory. What was your mother's name? She asked. Maya swallowed. Grace Johnson. The old woman closed her eyes. Just for a second. But that second changed the air. The man in the dark suit opened a luxury car door and stepped out. Clean shoes touched the dirty market pavement. A silver watch flashed on his wrist. His suit looked like money. His silence looked like power. The crowd moved back without being told. Denise noticed. Her voice softened, but only a little. Sir, this is only a market issue. This girl has been disturbing my business. The man looked at the crushed oranges, then at Maya's torn bag, then at the old woman. What is her name? Denise answered before Maya could breathe. Nobody important. Maya lowered her eyes. Nobody important. She had heard those words in many forms. From landlords, from clinic clerks, from customers who touched her fruit and never paid, from people who looked at her old dress and decided her truth was worth nothing. The man ignored Denise and looked directly at Maya. Your name? Maya held her bag tighter. Maya Johnson. The old woman inhaled sharply. Small sound. Big silence. Denise's smile disappeared for half a breath, then came back harder. See? A common name. A common girl. A common problem. Maya bent down to gather Caleb's clinic papers from ground. One page was sticky with orange juice. Another had a brown shoe mark across the corner. She wiped it with her thumb, careful and desperate, as if cleaning the paper could save her brother. My brother needs medicine, she whispered. That is all I am trying to do. The security guard looked at the papers again. His jaw tightened. Miss Carter, maybe we should let her collect her card. Maya looked up. Hope appeared in her eyes. Tiny. Fragile. Denise cut it down at once. Touch that card, and you are fired. The guard stepped back. The crowd saw it. Maya saw it. Power had spoken again, and the poor girl was alone again. The old woman looked at the orange in her hand, then at Maya. You gave me food while they were shaming you. Maya wiped her face quickly. You were hungry. So are you, the old woman said. Maya did not answer. Her stomach had been empty since dawn. But Caleb was hungrier. Caleb was sicker. Caleb came first. Denise rolled her eyes. Enough of this sad performance. She cries well. That does not make her honest. The man in the suit turned his head toward Denise. Did you see her steal? Denise froze. The question was calm. Too calm. I know my business. That was not my question. The crowd went silent again. A vendor near the back whispered. She never saw anything. Another woman said, the girl did show a receipt. Denise spun around. All of you were laughing 5 minutes ago. The crowd looked away. Nobody wanted to be brave for too long. Maya stood there with 4 bruised oranges in one arm and her torn bag in the other. Rich people had clean clothes, loud voices, security, cars with dark windows. Poor people had receipts that could be stepped on, truth that could be laughed at, tears that people filmed. If you're listening right now, tell me where you're watching from, and tell me who you believe in this moment, the woman with the rich stall and the loud voice, or the poor girl holding ruined oranges for her sick brother. Because in that market, silence was also a choice. Maya took one step backward. Please let me go. I need to get home. The old woman's eyes returned to the bracelet. How long have you worn it? Maya hesitated. Since before I can remember. Did Grace ever tell you where it came from? Maya shook her head. She only said it was found with me. The old woman's face went still. The man in the suit looked at her quickly. Denise noticed that look. Her fingers tightened around her purse. Found with you, the old woman whispered. Maya looked ashamed, as if being found instead of born made her smaller. I was not Grace's blood daughter, she said softly. But she loved me. She raised me. She was my mother. For the first time, the old woman's eyes filled with tears. She reached out, then stopped herself before touching Maya. Did she give you anything else? Maya glanced down at her bag. Only old papers. Nothing important. Denise stepped forward fast. Then take your old papers and leave. Her voice was sharper now. Nervous. Angry. Afraid of something she could not name. The man in the suit lifted one hand. Wait. One word. The market obeyed. Denise turned pale with anger. Maya froze with fear. The old woman leaned closer to the bracelet, staring at the tiny half-circle mark beneath the letters. Her lips moved like she was repeating a name from long ago, but no sound came out. Then Maya's torn bag slipped from her shoulder again. A small folded corner of aged paper slid halfway out from inside Caleb's clinic file. The old woman saw it. The man saw it. Denise saw them seeing it. Maya reached to push it back, embarrassed. But the man stepped closer and asked quietly, "Maya, may I see that paper?" Maya looked at his expensive suit, then at Denise's cruel smile, then at the old woman's shaking hands. "Why?" she whispered. The old woman answered before he could. Her voice was barely above the wind, but it carried through the whole market. "Because those letters on your wrist may not belong to a stranger. Because those letters on your wrist may not belong to a stranger." The old woman's words stayed inside Maya Johnson's chest as she walked away from the market. She did not answer. She could not. Her hands were full of bruised oranges, wet medical papers, and shame. Behind her, the black luxury car remained by the curb. The man in the dark suit watched without moving. Evelyn Whitmore stood beside him in her faded gray shawl, still holding the orange Maya had given her. Denise Carter folded her arms and smiled like she had won, but her eyes kept following Maya's bracelet. Maya did not look back. If she looked back, she might cry in front of them again. She walked 3 blocks under the Atlanta heat with a cracked crate against her hip. For oranges, 1 torn bag, no medicine, no money, no proof. By the time she reached the small apartment building near the bus line, her shoulders were shaking. The hallway smelled like old paint, fried oil, and rainwater trapped in walls. A red notice was taped to her door. "Final warning. Pay by Friday." Maya stopped breathing for a moment. "Not today," she whispered. "Please, not today." Inside, Caleb Johnson lay on a thin mattress beside the window. He was 14, but sickness had made his face look younger. A broken fan pushed hot air around the room. His school books sat under a plastic bowl, catching water from the ceiling. When he saw Maya, he tried to smile. "You came back early." Maya quickly wiped her cheeks. The sun was too strong. Caleb looked at the crate, then at her hands. "Did you get the medicine?" Silence filled the room. Maya placed the 4 bruised oranges on the small table. One rolled toward an unpaid light bill. She caught it before it fell. "Not yet," she said. "I will find a way." Caleb's smile faded. "Maya, do not say it like that. You promised." Her eyes closed. "That hurt worse than Denise's insults." "I know." Caleb coughed into an old towel and turned his face away. Maya saw the stain before he could hide it. She knelt beside him and touched his forehead. Too warm, too weak, too much for one poor girl with a broken heart. "I am sorry," she whispered. Caleb looked at the bracelet on her wrist. "Did someone ask about that again?" Maya froze. "Why would you ask that?" "Because you were touching it like Mommy used to." Maya looked down. Her thumb was rubbing the old letters. Evu. She had not noticed. Caleb reached under his pillow and pulled out a small rusted tin box. "Mama said if things ever got too hard, you should look inside." Maya stared at it. "She told you that?" "Before she died," Caleb said softly. "She said you must never sell the bracelet, no matter how hungry we got." Maya opened the box with trembling hands. Inside were 2 coins, a folded clinic receipt, and a faded photo damaged by water. The photo showed Grace Johnson, younger and thinner, holding a baby wrapped in a pale blanket. Behind her was part of a black iron gate with a gold curve at the top. The place behind that gate looked large. Clean. Rich. Nothing like the rooms Grace had ever lived in. Maya whispered, "Why did she hide this?" Before Caleb could answer, someone knocked hard on the door. 3 times. Maya shoved the photo back into the tin box and stood. "Who is it?" A man's voice answered, "Rent office." Her stomach dropped. Mr. Harris stood in the hallway with a clipboard. He looked past her at Caleb, the cracked wall, the oranges, and the wet papers on the table. "You are behind again." "I know," Maya said. "I just need 2 more days." "You said that last week." "My brother is sick." Mr. Harris sighed. "Everybody has problems when rent is due." Caleb tried to sit up. "Sir, please." "She's trying." Mr. Harris tapped the red notice. "Friday. No excuses." Then his voice lowered. "A woman from the market called. Said you caused trouble today. I do not want police at my building." Maya went cold. "Denise. Even here." even beside Caleb's mattress. I did nothing wrong, Maya said. Mr. Harris looked at her bracelet. Wrong people always say that. He walked away. Maya closed the door slowly and leaned her forehead against it. No card, no medicine. Rent due. Denise's lie had followed her home. Then outside the building, a car door closed. Quiet, heavy, expensive. Maya looked through the cracked window. The same black luxury car was parked across the street. The man in the dark suit stood beside it, speaking softly into his phone. His eyes lifted toward Maya's window. Behind him, Evelyn Whitmore sat in the back seat, no longer looking like a forgotten beggar, but like a woman who had just found a wound she had buried for years. Caleb whispered, Maya, who are those people? Maya could not answer. At her feet, the tin box slipped from the table and fell open. The faded photo slid across the floor, landing face up. For the first time, Maya noticed one tiny gold mark on the iron gate behind baby her, half covered by water damage. It was the same half-circle shape carved beneath the letters on her bracelet. The faded photo lay face up on the floor. Maya Johnson stared at the tiny gold half-circle on the iron gate behind baby her. It matched the mark under the old letters on her bracelet. Evu, Samakerv. Same strange shape. Same feeling in her chest, like a locked door had moved somewhere in the dark. Across the street, the black luxury car waited under the Atlanta sun. Marcus Whitmore stood beside it, speaking into his phone. Evelyn Whitmore sat in the back seat, her gray shawl pulled around her shoulders, but her eyes were fixed on Maya's cracked window. She no longer looked like a forgotten beggar woman. She looked like a woman afraid to hope. Caleb whispered from the mattress, Maya, why are they still watching us? Maya picked up the photo quickly and pressed it against her chest. I do not know. Are they bad people? Maya looked at the luxury car, the polished windows, the driver standing near the curb, the quiet power around Marcus. Then she looked back at their room. The cracked wall, the rent notice, the 4 bruised oranges, the clinic papers stained with juice. Rich people always have a reason, she said. Poor people just find out last. Outside, Marcus lowered his voice into the phone. Check old property files for a crest shaped like a half circle. Also search any public record connected to Grace Johnson. He paused, listening. His eyes moved back to Maya's window. No, keep this quiet. I did not want the wrong person warned. Inside, Maya heard none of it. She only heard Caleb coughing. She dropped the photo back into the tin box and knelt beside him. His forehead was hot. His hand was thin in hers. I should be at the clinic right now, she whispered, not staring at old pictures. Caleb tried to smile. Maybe the picture is trying to tell you something. Pictures do not buy medicine, but maybe people do. Maya looked at him sharply. I am not begging rich strangers. A soft knock came at the door. Careful, slow, not like Mr. Harris, not like Denise. That almost scared her more. Maya opened the door only a few inches. Marcus stood in the hallway, his suit too clean for the peeling paint around him. Evelyn stood behind him, still holding the bruised orange Maya had given her. Poor walls, rich shoes, old hunger, quiet power. Maya gripped the door. I told you I do not have anything. Marcus lifted one hand, calm and open. I'm not here to take anything. Maya looked at Evelyn. Then why are you here? Evelyn's eyes moved to Maya's wrist, then back to her face. Because something about you should not be ignored. Maya pulled her hand back. People ignore me every day. I survive. Evelyn's face softened with pain. I know. Maya did not like how gently she said it. Gentleness was dangerous when a person had already been humiliated. Marcus stayed outside the room. He did not step in. He did not touch the door. May I ask one question? Maya's voice was tired. Everyone asks poor people questions after they already judged them. Marcus lowered his eyes for 1 second. Then let me ask without judging. Caleb coughed from the mattress. Marcus looked past Maya and saw the towel, the unpaid bills, the bowl catching water from the ceiling. His face changed, but he kept his voice controlled. Your brother needs care. Maya pulled the door closer. My brother needs money. Care comes after money. Marcus nodded once, like the answer hurt because it was true. Grace Johnson. Did she ever tell you where that bracelet came from? Maya froze. Why does her name keep coming out of your mouth? Evelyn whispered. Because Grace may have known more than she could say. Maya's eyes filled fast. Do not make my mother sound like she was hiding dirty secrets. She fed me. She loved me. She worked until her hands cracked. Maybe she was not my blood, but she was my mother. The hallway went silent. Marcus did not interrupt. Evelyn looked down, tears shining. For the first time that day, Maya had spoken and nobody laughed. A tiny hope entered the hall. Small, gentle, almost unbearable. Marcus said quietly, "Then maybe she protected you." Maya's fingers tightened on the door. From what? Before Marcus could answer, his phone buzzed. He checked the screen. His jaw tightened. "Missing," he said softly. "The page is missing?" Evelyn looked up. Maya heard the word and felt it in her stomach. Missing. Another empty place where an answer should be. Marcus ended the call and looked toward the stairwell, as if the building itself might be listening. "There was an old file," he said. "Part of it is gone." Maya stared at him. "What file?" Footsteps sounded below before he could answer. Mr. Harris appeared on the stairs with his clipboard, breathing hard and looking annoyed. "Miss Johnson, you have visitors now." Maya's stomach dropped. "They are leaving." Mr. Harris looked at Marcus's suit, then at Evelyn's shawl, then at Maya's torn bag. A woman from the market called again. Maya went cold. "Denise. Even here, even beside Caleb's mattress." "She said you caused a scene today," Mr. Harris continued. "She said if you come back to the market tomorrow, she will bring Officer Reed." Caleb tried to sit up. "My sister did nothing wrong." Mr. Harris pointed toward the room. "Sick boys do not pay rent." Maya's face went pale. Marcus's jaw tightened, but he did not step over Maya's choice. Not yet. Not without proof. Mr. Harris slapped a second notice onto the door. "Friday, or the lock changes." Then he walked away. Maya stared at the notice. Her breathing became shallow. Evelyn reached toward her, then stopped before touching her. Marcus looked at the tin box in Maya's hand. "May I see the photo?" Maya stepped back. "No, it may help." "Help who?" she whispered. "You came in a car that costs more than this whole building. I came home with 4 oranges and no medicine. If that photo mattered, why did it wait until I had nothing?" The words hurt everyone in the hallway. Even Marcus had no answer. Then, downstairs, Mr. Harris's phone rang on speaker before he could silence it. Denise Carter's voice cut up through the stairwell, sharp and controlled. "Make sure she comes back tomorrow. I want Officer Reed there when she tries to play innocent again." Maya's blood went cold. Evelyn's hand closed around the bruised orange. Marcus turned toward the stairs. Denise's voice continued, lower now, but clear enough to wound. "This time, I will make sure everyone knows what kind of thief Maya Johnson really is. This time, I will make sure everyone knows what kind of thief Maya Johnson really is." Denise Carter's voice came through Mr. Harris's phone, and the hallway turned colder than the room behind Maya. Caleb stopped coughing for one painful second. Evelyn Whitmore held the bruised orange so tightly her fingers trembled. Marcus Whitmore looked toward the stairwell, calm on the outside, but his eyes had changed. Mr. Harris ended the call too quickly. Maya stood in her doorway with the old tin box pressed against her chest. "She called you?" she whispered. Mr. Harris avoided her eyes. "I manage this building. I cannot have trouble here." "Trouble followed me," Maya said. "I did not invite it." Marcus stepped forward. "Who asked you to call her?" Mr. Harris stiffened. "This is private property." "That was not my question." The hallway went silent. For one small second, Maya felt the weight of power shift. Not enough to save her, just enough to make someone nervous. Then Mr. Harris tapped the red notice on her door. "Friday. Pay or leave." He walked down the stairs, leaving Maya with rent due, no medicine, no cart, and Denise's lie waiting for her at the market. Caleb whispered from inside, "Maya, do not go back." Maya looked at him on the thin mattress. His face was pale. The towel was clenched in his hand. "I have to. She wants you there. Our card is there. The rest of the oranges are there. If I lose that, we lose everything." Evelyn took a step forward. "Child, let us help." Maya shook her head. "You do not understand. Poor people cannot leave things behind. One crate is dinner. One paper is proof. One bracelet is memory." Marcus looked at the bracelet hidden under her sleeve. "Then I will come with you." No, Maya said quickly. If you come close, she will make it worse. She is already making it worse. For you, worse is a problem, Maya said. For me, worse is no roof tonight. Those words stopped him. A little later, Maya returned to the market with her cracked crate in both hands and her bracelet covered by her sleeve. Marcus followed from a distance in the black car. Evelyn sat in the back, watching through tinted glass, her face tight with fear. The market was waiting. That was the first thing Maya noticed. Not selling, not moving, waiting. People stood near Denise's stall like an audience before a show. Phones were already raised. Officer Reed stood beside Denise, his badge shining in the sun. Denise wore a fresh white suit and a smile sharp enough to cut. Maya's dress was wrinkled. Her eyes were swollen. Her hands shook around the crate. There she is, Denise called. The poor girl who steals fruit, cries for pity, and hides stolen jewelry under her sleeve. The crowd murmured. Maya stopped. I came for my cart. Your cart. Denise laughed. After you brought shame to my lane? Officer Reed stepped forward. Miss Johnson, we received a complaint. Maya swallowed. A complaint is not the truth. Denise pointed at her arm. Then show him the bracelet. Maya pulled her wrist back. No, innocent people do not hide evidence. It is not evidence, Maya said. It is mine. Denise turned to the crowd. Listen to her. A girl who cannot pay rent suddenly owns jewelry with initials she cannot explain. Someone whispered, maybe it is stolen. Another said, why would she hide it? Maya felt every word like a stone. Officer Reed held out his hand. Let me see it. Please, Maya whispered. It belonged to my mother. Denise stepped closer. Which mother? The one you say raised you, or the one you cannot name? The market went quiet. That wound was too deep. Maya's lips trembled. Do not talk about my mother. Denise smiled. Then prove you had one worth believing. A tiny sound came from the black car. Evelyn had opened the door. Marcus lifted one hand from beside the car, stopping her without taking his eyes off Denise. Not yet. They had suspicion. They did not have proof. Maya stood alone again. Denise grabbed Maya's sleeve and pulled it down just enough for the bracelet to show. Evu. The half-circle mark flashed in the light. Phones moved closer. Maya covered it with her hand. Stop. Officer Reed frowned. Miss Carter, do you have proof this bracelet was stolen? Denise lifted a printed paper from her counter. I have a witness statement. Maya turned cold. From who? A young worker from Denise's stall stepped forward. His name tag read Terrence. He kept his head down. His hands shook. I saw her near the back crates yesterday, he said. Maya shook her head. That is not true. Terrence swallowed. He looked at Maya for one broken second, then looked away. I saw her. The crowd reacted at once. Shame. She fooled us. That poor brother story was fake. Maya's eyes filled. Why would you say that? Terrence whispered, so low only she heard. I am sorry. Denise clapped once. Officer, remove her from this lane. Marcus stepped closer, but only to the edge of the crowd. His voice stayed controlled. Before you remove her, ask why the receipt was destroyed. Denise's smile flickered. This man has nothing to do with my market. Marcus looked at Officer Reed and asked why the camera was not reviewed. Officer Reed turned to Denise. The camera? Denise laughed too fast. It failed this morning. A vendor near the side looked up. That is strange. It was recording when she was kneeling. Denise's head snapped toward him. The vendor immediately lowered his eyes. Tiny hope rose in Maya's chest. Then Denise crushed it. The file is corrupted, she said. Unless someone here wants to pay for her lies, she leaves without the card. Maya reached for the card, but Officer Reed blocked her path. Until this is cleared, it stays. No, Maya Guisperth. Please, I need it for my brother. Denise leaned close, smiling for the phones. Beg again, Maya. Maybe the old beggar and her rich friend will clap for you. Evelyn's face twisted with pain, but she stayed by the car. Maya stood in the middle of the market, stripped of her cart, her proof, her name, and almost her last memory of grace. Then Terrence backed into the crowd, pale and shaking. As he passed Maya's cracked crate, his hand opened. Something small dropped inside. A black memory card. Maya looked down, barely breathing. Terrence did not turn around. He only whispered. The camera was working. The black memory card sat between the bruised oranges like a piece of night. Maya Johnson stared at it, frozen. Around her, the market noise faded until she could only hear Caleb's weak voice in her memory and Denise Carter's sharp breathing beside her. Terrence stood near the back of Denise's stall, eyes low, hands shaking. He had dropped the card into Maya's crate. He had whispered one sentence. The camera was working. Denise saw the card a second later. Her face changed so fast that even Officer Reed noticed. "Give that to me," Denise snapped. Maya closed her hand around the card. "No, Denise, step closer. That is market property." Maya's voice shook, but she did not let go. "My receipt was mine, too. You stepped on it." A few people in the crowd murmured. Denise looked at them, and the murmurs died. That was her power, not kindness. Fear. Marcus Whitmore moved beside Maya, calm but alert. Evelyn stayed near the black car, holding the same bruised orange Maya had given her, her eyes fixed on Denise like she was watching a wound open. Officer Reed reached out. "Miss Johnson, hand over the card." Marcus turned to him. "Officer, if this is evidence, it should be viewed in front of witnesses." Denise laughed. "Witnesses? She is a street seller with a sick brother and a fantasy." Maya flinched. Caleb's name always hit harder than insults about her. Marcus looked at Denise. "Then you should have nothing to fear." The driver opened a laptop on the hood of the black car. The crowd pressed in. Phones rose again, but this time they were not filming Maya's shame. They were waiting for the truth to either save her or crush her. Maya's fingers trembled as she handed the card to Marcus. "Please," she whispered. "If it shows nothing, I am finished." Marcus looked at her. "If it shows the truth, let the truth stand." The first video opened. Static. Then the image cleared. The market lane appeared in gray morning light. Maya's cracked cart rolled into frame before Denise's stall had even opened. She counted small bills into the palm of a wholesale driver. The driver lifted 2 crates of oranges on her cart. The time stamp glowed in the corner. Early, clear, undeniable. A woman in the crowd whispered, "She bought them." Another voice said, "Before Denise even came." Maya covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not smile. She was too tired to celebrate proof that should never have been needed. Denise stepped forward. "That clip proves nothing." The second video opened before she could say more. Maya stood at Denise's stall holding out her folded receipt. Denise snatched it. Denise dropped it into spilled orange juice and dirt. Denise pressed her white heel on it. The crowd went silent. Then the laptop speakers crackled. Denise's voice came through, cruel and clear. "Trash does not become proof just because you fold it neatly." Maya looked down. That sentence had already hurt her once. Hearing it again, in front of everyone, made her whole body shake. Officer Reed's face tightened. Terrence wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. Evelyn closed her eyes. Marcus did not speak for a moment. He let the silence punish the lie. Then he said, "That is not a thief destroying evidence. That is an innocent woman having her proof destroyed." Denise's smile disappeared. "This video is damaged. It could be fake." The screen flickered. The next file tried to load, then froze. A gray box appeared. "File damaged." Denise saw it and breathed again. There, broken, just like her story. Maya's hope dropped like a stone. The crowd shifted. Doubt returned, small but dangerous. Officer Reed looked at Marcus. "If the rest is corrupted, I cannot use assumptions." Terrence took one step forward, then stopped. Denise turned her head slowly toward him. "Careful," she said. "One word, one warning." Terrence swallowed and stepped back. Maya saw it. Marcus saw it. Evelyn saw it. The market saw it too, even if they pretended not to. Marcus removed the card carefully from the laptop. This is no longer only about oranges. Denise's eyes flashed. It was always about oranges. Marcus looked at Maya's wrist, then at the old photo corner still tucked in her torn bag. He said nothing about it. Not yet. Not here. That silence made Denise nervous in a way Maya did not understand. Then Maya's phone rang. The cheap screen showed Caleb's name. Her heart jumped. She answered quickly. "Caleb." His voice came thin and scared. "Maya, someone came to the apartment." The market noise vanished from her ears. Ooh, Caleb coughed. A man. I did not open the door. Maya gripped the phone. What did he want? Caleb whispered. He asked if you still had the old bracelet. Maya went cold. Evelyn's hand tightened around the bruised orange. Marcus looked up sharply. Denise turned away too fast, but not fast enough. Maya stared at her wrist, at the letters E.W., at the half-circle mark, at the thing Grace Johnson had left her without explanation. The oranges had been proof. The receipt had been proof. But now someone was asking about the only thing Maya had worn since childhood. Marcus stepped closer and lowered his voice. Where's Caleb now? Maya could barely breathe. Home. Alone. Denise smiled faintly, trying to hide it. Maya saw the smile, and fear moved through her like fire. She looked at the crowd, then at Marcus, then at the road leading away from the market. The memory card had given her one piece of truth. But Caleb's call had opened a darker door. And behind that door, someone already knew about the bracelet. He asked if you still have the bracelet. Caleb's weak voice came through Maya Johnson's cracked phone, and the market noise vanished around her. Maya gripped the phone with both hands. Caleb, lock the door. I did, he whispered. He is still in the hallway. Denise Carter's eyes sharpened when she heard the fear in Maya's voice. Maybe your brother is learning what happens when people keep things that are not theirs. Maya turned to her, tears burning but voice steady. Do not talk about my brother. Marcus Whitmore stepped closer, but not too close. Maya, give me the address. No, Maya said. I will go. You are shaking. He is my brother. Evelyn Whitmore moved from the black car, still holding the bruised orange Maya had given her. She stopped before touching Maya, as if even kindness needed permission. Child, let us take you. Maya looked at the car. Clean leather. Dark windows. A driver waiting silently. It looked safe, but safety from rich people had never been made for girls like her. I do not know you, Maya said. Evelyn nodded. No, but I know what fear sounds like when a child is alone. That sentence landed softly. Maya wanted to reject it. She wanted to stay proud. But Caleb coughed through the phone, and the sound broke her. Officer Reed looked uneasy. Miss Johnson, I can send someone to check. Denise laughed. For a sick boy and another poor story? Marcus turned his head. Enough. One word. Quiet. Heavy. Denise closed her mouth, but hate stayed in her eyes. Marcus looked at Officer Reed. Keep the memory card safe until it is copied. Keep Miss Carter away from the camera system. Denise snapped. You do not own this market. Officer Reed glanced at the laptop, the damaged files, then at Maya's trembling hands. Maybe someone else should keep the evidence. Tiny hope flickered. Not justice. Not rescue. Just one person refusing to let Denise control every breath. Marcus opened the back door of the car and stepped aside. You can sit near the door. You can keep your phone. You can tell the driver to stop anytime. Maya looked at Evelyn. The old woman lifted the bruised orange. You fed me when everyone laughed at you. Let me carry you away from one crowd before another wound opens. Maya's lips trembled. I still do not trust you. Evelyn's eyes filled. Then trust the love you have for Caleb. That was enough. Maya entered the car with her torn bag on her lap and her wrist pressed against her chest. She did not relax. She did not lean back. She sat like someone ready to run. The ride was short, but every second felt strange. Outside the tinted window, Atlanta changed from bright market streets to glass buildings, then back to cracked sidewalks, corner stores, and old brick apartments. Rich silence sat inside the car. Poor fear waited outside it. Marcus spoke quietly into his phone. Find Terrence before Denise pressures him again, and have the damaged files checked without alerting the wrong people. Maya looked at him. Why are you helping me? Marcus did not answer right away. Because someone is working very hard to make the truth look dirty. Maya swallowed. Truth is dirty when poor people carry it. Evelyn whispered, but it is still truth. Maya looked at her then. Beneath the shawl and tired face, there was grief. Not pity, grief. Old grief. Why did you ask about my bracelet? Maya said. Evelyn's hand trembled. Because I once saw those letters on something precious. Something. Evelyn stared at the bracelet. Someone's future. The car fell silent. At Maya's building, The hallway was dim and hot. Caleb's door was closed. A man in a gray cap was walking away down the stairs with his face turned from the light. Marcus started after him, but Maya cried, "Caleb first." Marcus stopped. He chose her fear over the chase. Maya unlocked the door with shaking hands. Caleb was on a mattress, pale but safe. Maya dropped beside him and touched his face. "Did he hurt you?" "No, Caleb Guisperth. He only asked questions." "What questions?" "He asked if the bracelet opens." Maya froze. "Opens?" Evelyn stepped inside slowly. Her eyes moved across the poor room. The unpaid light bill. The red rent notice. The bowl catching water from the ceiling. The 4 bruised oranges on the table. The tin box near Caleb's pillow. Her face broke like the room had become a memory. Caleb looked at her. "You are the woman from the market." Evelyn nodded. "Yes. Maya gave you our food." "I know." Caleb's voice was weak but clear. "Then do not hurt her." Evelyn pressed one hand to her chest. "I will try with everything I have left." Marcus noticed Caleb's breathing and made a quiet call from the doorway. "Send a nurse to this address. No cameras. No questions. Basic care only." Maya looked up fast. "I said I do not take charity." Marcus lowered the phone. "Then call it respect. You helped someone when you had nothing. Let someone help your brother without taking your pride." Maya did not answer. Her eyes were full, but she did not thank him yet. Trust still hurt too much. Marcus placed the memory card on the table beside the tin box, but kept his hand near it. "Maya, do you know if the bracelet opens?" "No," Maya said. "I never tried." Caleb lifted one weak hand toward the tin box. "Mama did." Maya turned to him. "What?" Caleb coughed, then whispered. Before she died, she said there was a tiny line under the letters. She said if the past ever came looking, you should not open it alone. Evelyn stopped breathing for a moment. Marcus looked down at Maya's wrist. Under the letters EW, beneath the half-circle mark, a hair-thin seam caught the light. Maya had worn that bracelet all her life and had never seen it. Evelyn's voice broke into the poor little room. "I have seen that seam before." The line under the bracelet was so thin that Maya Johnson almost thought Caleb had imagined it. But when the small lamp touched the old metal, the hidden seam caught the light like a secret holding its breath. Evelyn Whitmore stared at it from the edge of the mattress, her fingers trembling around the bruised orange. Marcus stood near the door, watching both women in silence. Caleb sat against the pillow, weak but alert, his eyes moving from Maya's wrist to Evelyn's face. "You said you have seen it before," Maya whispered. Evelyn did not answer right away. The room was too poor for such a silence. Water dripped into the bowl near the wall. A truck passed outside. Somewhere below, Mr. Harris shouted at another tenant. Then Evelyn spoke softly. "I have seen that kind of work before. Not many people made pieces like that." Maya pulled her wrist back. "Pieces? It is just a bracelet." Evelyn's eyes filled. Sometimes poor children carry things rich houses forgot to protect. Maya stood up fast. "Do not talk in riddles. My brother is sick. Denise is trying to destroy me. A stranger came here asking about this bracelet. If you know something, say it." Marcus stepped forward, calm but careful. "We know enough to be careful. Not enough to accuse anyone." Maya laughed once, bitter and broken. "Rich people are always careful with words. Poor people get punished before anyone checks the truth." That sentence hit the room hard. Evelyn lowered her head. "You are right." Caleb reached for Maya's hand. "Maya, sit down." Maya sat, but she kept the bracelet covered with her sleeve. She did not want Hope. Hope had made too many promises in her life. Marcus opened the old tin box again, but only after Maya nodded. Inside were Grace Johnson's coins, the clinic receipt, and the faded photo of Grace holding baby Maya near the black iron gate. Marcus placed the photo beside Maya's wrist without touching her. The half circle on the gate looked like the half circle on the bracelet. Same curve, same quiet wound. "This does not prove who I am," Maya said. "No, Marcus answered. But it proves Grace kept more than memories." Evelyn looked at the photo for a long time. "Grace Johnson," she whispered. "That name came near our house once." Maya's breath caught. "Your house." Evelyn closed her eyes. "A long time ago, before people stopped speaking openly." Maya shook her head. No, do not make this bigger than it is. It may already be bigger, Marcus said. His phone buzzed. He checked the message and his face tightened. The old file is still incomplete. A page is gone. The clerk says the record was handled years ago, then sealed again. Caleb whispered, sealed. Maya looked at Marcus. What record? Marcus did not answer too quickly. A community intake record connected to Grace's name. Not a full file. Not enough truth. Only a trail. Maya's eyes burned. A trail to what? Before Marcus could reply, Evelyn's phone rang. She looked at the screen and froze. Marcus saw the name. Pastor Samuel Brooks. Maya looked up. Pastor Samuel? Caleb frowned. Mama used to send him Christmas cards. Evelyn answered and put the phone on speaker. Pastor Samuel's voice came old and careful through the small room. Mrs. Whitmore, you asked about Grace Johnson. Maya leaned forward. Pastor, this is Maya. The line went quiet. Then his voice broke a little. Child. That one word made Maya's throat close. What do you know about my mother? Pastor Samuel breathed slowly. Grace came to St. Mary's years ago with a baby wrapped in a pale blanket. She was scared, not of hunger, not of police, of people with names strong enough to change papers. Maya's hand flew to her mouth. Evelyn looked away as tears gathered. Marcus stood still, listening like every word mattered. Maya forced herself to speak. Was the baby me? Pastor Samuel paused. I cannot say that over a phone. Not without showing you what Grace left. Caleb whispered. She left something? A letter, Pastor Samuel said. Sealed. Old. Hidden in my church Bible, because Grace said one day the child might come back wearing what she could not explain. Maya looked down at her covered wrist. The bracelet suddenly felt heavier than metal. Why did she never tell me? Pastor Samuel's voice softened. Because she loved you enough to be afraid. Maya closed her eyes. That hurt more than an insult. Grace had worked alone, prayed alone, hid alone, all while Maya thought poverty was the only secret in their house. Marcus spoke carefully. Pastor, do you remember anyone asking about Grace after that? The line crackled. Pastor Samuel did not answer at first. When he did, his voice was lower. I remember a woman who came asking questions at the church office. Well-dressed, polite, too polite. She did not ask like a mother looking for a child. She asked like someone checking whether a door was still locked. Evelyn looked at Marcus. Marcus's face hardened, but he did not say Denise's name. Not yet. Maya noticed that silence. Who was she? Pastor Samuel answered. I will not speak the name over this phone. Bring the bracelet. Bring the photo. Come where Grace left the letter. Denise Carter stood in her market office at that same moment, staring at her own phone. She had not heard Pastor Samuel's words, but she had heard enough rumors from Mr. Harris to know Maya had visitors. Rich visitors. Her smile was tight and cruel. So the poor girl found people to believe her, she muttered. Then she looked at a flyer on her desk for the Whitmore Civic Hall charity event. Cameras, donors, pastors, city officers, a public stage. Denise picked up her phone. If Maya Johnson wants attention, she said coldly, then I will give it to her. Back in the apartment, Maya still held the bracelet under her sleeve. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. I am not walking into another trap. Marcus looked at her. Then we do not walk blind. Evelyn reached for Maya's hand and stopped before touching her. Grace carried this fear alone. You do not have to. Maya looked at Caleb, pale on the mattress. She looked at the photo. She looked at the old bracelet. For the first time, the thing on her wrist did not feel like jewelry. It felt like a question Grace had protected with her life. Then Pastor Samuel's final words came through the phone, quiet and heavy. Child, the person Grace feared was close enough to know where the truth was hidden. Pastor Samuel's words stayed in the room long after the call ended. Child, the person Grace feared was close enough to know where the truth was hidden. Maya Johnson sat beside Caleb's mattress with her sleeve pulled over the old bracelet. The room felt smaller now. The cracked walls, the rent notice, the bowl catching water, the tin box on the floor with Grace's photo inside. Everything poor around her suddenly looked like it had been guarding something rich people wanted buried. Caleb whispered, Maya, are we in trouble? Maya wanted to say no. She wanted to be the strong sister. the sister who always had an answer, but her throat closed. Marcus Whitmore stood near the door, quiet and alert. Evelyn Whitmore sat on the edge of the chair, still holding the bruised orange like a promise she was afraid to break. Marcus finally spoke. "We should take Caleb somewhere safer tonight." Maya looked at him sharply. "Safer for who? You people keep saying safe, but every time this bracelet gets noticed, my life gets worse." Evelyn lowered her eyes. "Because someone is afraid of what it means." Maya stood up. "Then let them be afraid somewhere else. My brother needs medicine, not secrets." Before anyone could answer, heavy footsteps climbed the stairs. Not one person, several. Caleb's eyes widened. Marcus moved slightly in front of the door, but Maya raised one hand. "This is my home." The knock came hard enough to shake the frame. Mr. Harris's voice followed. "Miss Johnson, open this door." Maya opened it halfway. Mr. Harris stood there with Denise Carter behind him, dressed like she was entering a church fundraiser instead of a poor hallway. Officer Reed stood to the side, uncomfortable but present. Denise smiled when she saw Marcus. Well, the little orange seller found herself important friends. Maya's stomach turned. "Why are you here?" Denise lifted a paper folder. "To stop a lie before it becomes a disease." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "Choose your words carefully." Denise ignored him and looked past Maya at Caleb. "Poor child. Sick in bed while your sister drags you into her dirty games." Caleb tried to sit up. "My sister did nothing." Denise tilted her head. "That is sweet. Useless but sweet." Maya stepped into the hallway. "Do not talk to him." Denise's smile sharpened. "Then sign this." She pulled out a paper and held it toward Maya. A simple statement. "You admit you planted that memory card. You admit you created confusion at my stall. You admit you are sorry for damaging my name. Then maybe I do not push this further." Maya stared at the paper. Her hands went cold. "That is a lie." Denise leaned closer. "So was your little performance at the market." Marcus took one step forward. "She will not sign anything without counsel." Denise looked at him with fake surprise. "Counsel? For a poor girl who sells oranges from a broken cart?" Officer Reed shifted. "Miss Carter, we should not pressure her in the hallway." Denise turned on him softly. "Officer, you have Terrence's statement, do you not?" Officer Reed opened his folder. His face showed he wished he did not have to read it. "Terrence claims Maya Johnson asked him to place the memory card into her crate to make Miss Carter look guilty." Maya gasped. "No," Caleb began coughing hard. Evelyn stood. "That man was afraid." Denise looked at her. "Fear makes poor people creative." Maya's eyes filled, but she did not cry. Not in front of Denise. Not again. "Terrence gave me that card because the camera was working." Denise lifted her eyebrows. "Then why is the file damaged?" The hallway went quiet. That question hurt because it sounded simple. It sounded clean. It sounded like rich people's lies always did. Marcus said, "A damaged file does not erase the part that shows you destroying her receipt." Denise's smile flickered, then returned. "And tomorrow, everyone can judge that for themselves." Maya looked up. "Tomorrow?" Denise opened another paper. A glossy flyer. Whitmore Civic Hall Charity Evening. Donors. Pastors. Market leaders. City officers. Cameras. Denise tapped the page with one red nail. "I was already invited to speak about community honesty. Now I will speak about fraud too." Maya stepped back. "You're taking this to a stage?" "No," Denise said. "You did. You wanted attention. You wanted rich sympathy. You wanted people to believe a poor girl over a woman who built something." Evelyn's voice became cold. "You built fear." Denise looked at her. "And you built nothing by dressing like a beggar and confusing this girl." The insult landed hard, but Evelyn did not move. Marcus's voice dropped. "Enough." Denise placed the statement against Maya's chest. "Sign it tonight, or tomorrow I show that whole room what kind of girl you are. A thief. A liar. A beggar with a bracelet story." Maya looked at the paper, then at Caleb struggling for breath, then at the tin box inside the room. For one terrible second, she almost reached for the pen. Ending the fight would be easier. Being small again would be easier. Caleb grabbed her wrist with weak fingers. "Do not sign a lie for me." Maya froze. Denise's eyes hardened. "Listen to your brother, and you may both lose more than pride." Marcus took the paper from Maya's hand and held it up. This threat ends now. Denise smiled. No, Mr. Whitmore. Tomorrow it begins. She turned toward the stairs, then stopped. Bring your proof. Bring your pastor. Bring your little sick brother if you want sympathy. The whole city will see who deserves shame. Officer Reed looked at Maya, conflicted but followed. Mr. Harris left last, avoiding Maya's eyes. The hallway emptied. Maya stood shaking. Evelyn reached for her, but Maya whispered, No. If I go there, she will destroy me. Marcus looked at the flyer in his hand. Only if we walk in blind. His phone buzzed. Pastor Samuel's message appeared on the screen. Marcus read it once, then again. He says Grace's letter is still sealed. He will bring it tomorrow. Maya swallowed. Will it prove anything? Marcus looked at the bracelet hidden under her sleeve, then at the old photo in the tin box. It may not prove everything, but it may tell us where to look. Outside, Denise stepped in her car and smiled at the lights of the city. She believed the stage belonged to her. Upstairs, Maya held Caleb's hand and stared at the flyer. Cameras, donors, pastors, public shame. The same kind of crowd that had laughed at her in the market, only richer. And somewhere in a church Bible, Grace Johnson's sealed letter was waiting to speak. The flyer trembled in Maya Johnson's hand as Marcus Whitmore drove through the bright Atlanta streets toward Whitmore Civic Hall. Cameras, donors, pastors, market leaders, city officers, public shame. The words felt heavier than the old bracelet hidden under her sleeve. Caleb sat beside her with a clean blanket over his knees, still weak, still pale, but awake. Evelyn Whitmore sat across from them, quiet, her hands folded around the bruised orange Maya had given her days ago. Marcus looked at Maya from the front seat. You do not have to speak first. Maya stared out the window. Denise will, Caleb whispered, then let her lie first. Maya turned to him. You should be resting. He gave her a small smile. I have rested enough while people call you a thief. The car slowed in front of Whitmore Civic Hall. Gold lights washed over tall glass doors. Men in suits stepped out of expensive cars. Women in bright dresses held donation envelopes. Security stood near the entrance. A large banner above the doorway read Community Honesty and Public Trust. Maya almost laughed, but her throat was too tight. This was not the market. This was bigger, cleaner, richer, worse. At the entrance, a few people turned to look at her faded blue dress and worn shoes. Maya lowered her eyes. Evelyn touched her arm gently. Do not shrink tonight, Maya whispered. I do not know how to stand in a room like this. Marcus opened the door. Stand like the truth belongs there too. Inside, the hall was full. White tablecloths, crystal glasses, a large screen behind the stage, a podium with Denise Carter's name printed on the program. Maya saw Officer Reed near the front row. Mr. Harris stood by the side wall, avoiding her eyes. Terrence was near the service door, sweating through his shirt. Pastor Samuel Brooks had not arrived yet. Maya noticed that first. Her stomach dropped. Where is Pastor Samuel? Marcus checked his phone. On his way. Denise Carter stepped onto the stage before anyone could ask more. She wore a cream suit and a gold pin shaped like a fruit branch. She smiled like the room already belonged to her. Ladies and gentlemen, Denise began, tonight we speak about honesty. We speak about protecting this community from fraud. Maya felt every eye move toward her. Denise lifted one hand. Some people use poverty as a costume. Some people use sickness as a shield. Some people damage the names of honest business owners because they want sympathy from powerful families. Caleb's hand tightened around Maya's. Evelyn's face went still. Marcus did not move. Denise looked directly at Maya. Miss Maya Johnson, since you have come here tonight, perhaps you can explain why a memory card appeared in your crate after you were accused of theft. A low murmur moved across the hall. Maya's mouth went dry. She stood slowly. Her knees shook under her dress. I did not plan it. Denise smiled. Of course not. And you did not steal oranges. And you did not pretend your brother was dying for pity. And you did not follow rich people hoping they would save you. Maya flinched. Caleb tried to rise from his chair. Do not talk about me. Denise tilted her head. Child, adults are speaking. Evelyn stood then. The room changed. Then speak like one. Denise's smile stiffened. Marcus stepped forward before the hall could turn loud. Maya can answer, but she will not be bullied. Denise looked at him. This is my presentation. Marcus glanced at the banner. No, this is a public charity event under my family's name. The room went silent. Denise's hand tightened on the podium. Then let the public hear everything. She picked up a paper. I have a witness statement claiming Miss Johnson arranged for evidence to be planted. I have a damaged video file that proves nothing complete. I have a poor girl wearing jewelry she cannot explain. And I have a sick brother being used for tears. Maya's eyes filled, but she stayed standing. I sold oranges because Caleb needed medicine. I gave food to a woman because she was hungry. That is all I did. For 1 second, the room softened. Then Denise struck again. And yet trouble follows you everywhere. The large screen behind her stayed dark. Marcus looked toward his driver, who stood beside the projector table with a memory card sealed in a clear sleeve. Trouble follows lies too, Marcus said. Denise laughed. Then show your little video. Marcus did not move yet. We are waiting for one more witness. Denise turned toward the hall doors. A pastor with an old letter? How touching. Maya looked at Marcus sharply. Denise's eyes flickered. She knew about the letter. Not what it said, but enough to fear it. The thought chilled Maya's blood. At that moment, the doors opened. Pastor Samuel Brooks entered slowly, holding an old Bible against his chest. The hall quieted. His suit was worn. His steps were slow, but his face carried the weight of a man who had kept silence for too long. Maya whispered, Pastor. He looked at her with sorrow. Grace sent me to this moment years ago. Denise stepped down from the podium. This is nonsense. Old papers do not clear theft. Pastor Samuel held the Bible tighter. No, but truth has a way of waiting for the right room. Marcus turned to the audience. Before the screen turns on, look carefully at this stage. One woman came here to defend her name. One woman came here to destroy a poor girl in public. Comment in your heart who you believe deserves justice tonight, because once the truth is shown, this room will not be able to pretend it did not see. Denise snapped, enough drama. Marcus looked at his driver. Start with the market footage. The lights dimmed. The crowd stopped whispering. Phones rose, but slower now. Not with mockery, with fear of what might appear. Maya held Caleb's hand. Evelyn stood beside her. Pastor Samuel opened the old Bible and slid out a sealed yellow envelope. Marcus placed the memory card beside it on the evidence table. The bracelet stayed hidden under Maya's sleeve, warm against her skin like a quiet heartbeat. Denise looked from the envelope to the screen. For the first time that night, her smile disappeared. Marcus faced the room and spoke in a voice that filled every corner. Before anyone judges Maya Johnson, watch this. The screen flickered once. Then it turned white. The screen turned white. For one breath, nothing moved inside Whitmore Civic Hall. Maya Johnson stood beside Caleb's chair with her hand locked around his. Evelyn Whitmore stood on her other side, still holding the bruised orange like it had become a witness too. Denise Carter faced the screen with her shoulders straight, but the smile had already left her mouth. Then the first image appeared. The Atlanta market. Early morning. Gray sky. Empty stalls. Maya's broken cart rolled into view long before Denise's fruit stand opened. The timestamp glowed in the corner. Maya counted small bills into the hand of the wholesale driver. The driver placed 2 crates of oranges on her cart. One donor leaned forward. A woman near the front whispered, she bought them. Another voice said, before the market opened. Maya closed her eyes. Her proof was simple. Too simple. She had paid for oranges. She had told the truth. And still, she had been made to kneel. Denise stepped forward quickly. A single clip proves nothing. Marcus Whitmore did not raise his voice. It proved she did not steal those oranges from you. The room went still. The second clip played. Maya stood at Denise's stall with a folded receipt in her shaking hand. The video showed Denise snatching it, dropping it into spilled juice and dirt, pressing it down with her clean white heel. Caleb made a small broken sound beside Maya. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. Then the audio cracked through the speakers. Denise's voice came sharp and clear. Trash does not become proof. just because you fold it neatly. The hall froze. No one whispered now. No one moved. The people who had laughed at Maya in the market were suddenly watching what they had chosen not to see. Officer Reed looked down at his hands. Mr. Harris stepped back toward the wall. Maya stared at the floor, trembling. That sentence had already hurt her once in public. Hearing it again in this rich room made the shame rise like smoke. Marcus turned toward the audience. That was not a thief being exposed. That was a poor woman having her proof destroyed. Denise grabbed the side of the podium. The file is damaged. It was damaged before. Anyone can show pieces. Marcus nodded once. Then we will show only what the pieces prove. She bought the oranges. You destroyed her receipt. That is enough to clear the first lie. A heavy silence followed. Denise's first weapon had broken. Pastor Samuel Brooks stepped forward with the old Bible against his chest. And there is another matter. Denise snapped, "This is not church." Pastor Samuel looked at her. "No, this is a room full of people who need to hear why Grace Johnson was afraid." Maya turned toward him. Her breathing changed. Pastor Samuel opened the Bible and removed the sealed yellow envelope. His fingers shook as he broke the seal. "Grace left this with me years ago," he said. "She said it should be read only if the child came back with the old mark." Maya looked down at the bracelet hidden under her sleeve. The old metal felt hot against her skin. Pastor Samuel unfolded the paper slowly. "I cannot carry this secret forever," he read. "The baby in my arms is not stolen. She was placed with me because danger was near her. If she grows up poor, let no one call that proof of shame. If she comes back wearing the bracelet, help her find the truth I could not safely speak." Maya covered her mouth. Caleb whispered, "Maya." Evelyn took one step back, as if the words had struck her heart. Marcus watched Pastor Samuel, waiting. Pastor Samuel continued, voice breaking. "Her name is Maya. Tell her Grace Johnson loved her as her own. Tell her blood may have been hidden from her, but love never was." Maya began to cry then. Not loud, not wild, just silent tears that fell while the whole room watched a dead mother defend her child. Denise forced a laugh, but it sounded thin. A sentimental letter does not make her important. Evelyn turned to her. "You still think importance is the point?" Marcus lifted a restored copy of the old intake record from the table. The letter is not standing alone. The screen changed. A damaged hospital and community intake record appeared. Some words were faded. Some lines were scratched. But one name remained clear. Maya. Beside the damaged family line was a small half-circle crest. The room saw it. Then Marcus placed the faded photo beneath the projector camera. Grace holding baby Maya near the black iron gate. The same half-circle crest. Finally, Evelyn stepped forward and touched Maya's sleeve gently. "May I?" Maya looked at her with fear and tears, then nodded. Evelyn lifted the sleeve, just enough for the room to see the letters. Evu, the half-circle mark, the hidden seam. Gasps moved through the hall. Denise looked away too fast. Marcus noticed. Pastor Samuel noticed. Maya noticed. Marcus spoke carefully. "This does not finish every legal question tonight, but it shows that Maya Johnson was never just a poor girl with a story. She was carrying a mark tied to records someone tried to damage, a letter someone tried to bury, and a past someone did not want opened." Denise stepped back. "You are making guesses." Terrence moved from near the service door. His voice was low. "She told me not to trust Maya." Denise turned sharply. "Terrence." He flinched, but he kept walking. "She told me to say the memory card was planted." A murmur shook the hall. Officer Reed looked up. Denise pointed at Terrence. "He is lying to protect himself." Terrence's eyes filled. "No, I lied because I was scared of you." Marcus raised one hand, stopping the crowd before it rose too high. "That statement will be handled properly. Tonight, this room has heard enough to know Maya was falsely accused." Maya pressed Caleb's hand to her cheek. The rich room blurred through her tears. For the first time, the crowd was not looking at her like a criminal. They were looking at her like a person. Denise tried to speak again. "This girl is manipulating all of you." Evelyn's voice broke, but did not bend. "The girl you called trash fed me when she had almost nothing." Silence. Then Marcus picked up the sealed folder Pastor Samuel had carried with the letter. A smaller envelope rested inside it, unopened. Denise's eyes locked onto it. The fear was small, but visible. Marcus saw it. He lifted the envelope where the room could see. There is one more piece Grace left with Pastor Samuel. I will not open it until this is recorded properly. Denise whispered, You cannot prove anything. Marcus turned to her, calm and exact. Then one question should not frighten you. The hall became so quiet that Maya could hear Caleb breathing. Marcus looked from the envelope to Denise, then to Maya's bracelet under the stage light. His voice filled the room. Miss Carter, before I open this, tell everyone how you knew Maya Johnson's bracelet could open. Miss Carter, before I open this, tell everyone how you knew Maya Johnson's bracelet could open. Marcus Whitmore's question struck the room like a door slamming shut. Denise Carter stood under the white stage lights with every eye on her face. The donors, the pastors, Officer Reed, Mr. Harris, Terrence, Maya Johnson, Caleb, Evelyn Whitmore. No one moved. No one whispered. The smaller envelope rested in Marcus's hand, and the old bracelet stayed under the light on Maya's wrist. Evu, the half-circle mark, the hidden seam. Denise tried to smile, but her mouth trembled. I did not know anything. Marcus looked at her calmly. Then why did you look at the envelope before I said what was inside? Denise snapped. Because this whole room is being tricked. Evelyn stepped forward, her voice low and broken. No, Denise. The trick was making a hungry girl look guilty because you thought poverty had no witness. The room went cold. Denise pointed at Maya. She is still a street seller. A bracelet does not make her blood. An old letter does not make her clean. Caleb pushed himself forward in his chair. My sister was clean before you ever saw her. A soft sound moved through the hall. Not applause. Pain. Shame. Marcus opened the smaller envelope carefully. Inside was a narrow strip of paper, old and folded, with Grace Johnson's handwriting on one side and a copied record number on the other. Pastor Samuel Brooks leaned closer, his hands shaking. Marcus read it aloud. If anyone comes asking whether the bracelet opens, do not trust them. Only someone connected to the changed record would know that seam exists. Denise's face lost color. The hall became so quiet that Maya could hear her own breath. Marcus turned the strip toward Officer Reed. This does not replace a court, but it explains why Miss Carter feared a bracelet she claimed was meaningless. Officer Reed stepped forward. Miss Carter, did you instruct anyone to ask about that bracelet? Denise laughed too loudly. This is absurd. I run a fruit business. I do not chase children's jewelry. Terrence raised his head from the side of the stage. You asked me if she still wore it. Denise spun toward him. Stop talking. He flinched, then took one breath. No, I stopped talking for too long. The crowd shifted. Phones lowered. The people who had once filmed Maya's shame now watched Denise lose the voice she used to control everyone. Marcus placed the small strip beside the market footage copy, Grace's letter, the damaged intake record, and the old photo of Grace holding baby Maya near the iron gate. One by one, no shouting, no revenge, just truth laid out in front of people who could no longer pretend. The footage clears Maya of theft, Marcus said. The audio shows her receipt was destroyed. Pastor Samuel's letter confirms Grace protected a child with this mark. Terrence confirms he was pressured to lie. And this note explains why the bracelet mattered before Maya ever knew why. Denise stepped back from the table. You have no right to ruin me. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. You tried to ruin a girl who gave you no harm. Denise looked around for support. Mr. Harris avoided her eyes. Officer Reed stared at the floor. The donors did not move toward her. The market leaders did not stand beside her. Her power, the thing she had worn like perfume, began to leave her face. Officer Reed turned to Maya. Miss Johnson, I owe you an apology. Maya froze. For what? His voice lowered. For believing status before evidence. Maya's eyes filled. She did not smile. She did not celebrate. She only said, Next time, believe poor people can tell the truth. Officer Reed nodded. Yes, ma'am. That sentence broke something in the room. A woman in the front row began to cry, quietly. A pastor bowed his head. Terrence wiped his eyes. Caleb held Maya's hand with both of his. Marcus faced Denise again. Effective tonight, every Whitmore Foundation partnership connected to your market charity work is suspended. The footage, the statements, and the record trail will be given to the proper board and legal counsel. Denise's voice cracked. You cannot do that. Marcus answered, I just did. Denise turned to Evelyn. Mrs. Whitmore, please. You know what I have done for this community. Evelyn lifted the bruised orange in her hand. I know what Maya did when she thought I had nothing to give her back. The words landed harder than any insult. Denise had no answer. From the back of the hall, a vendor stood slowly. She threatened my permit last year. Another voice followed. She made us pay to keep our spaces. A third said, she told us not to speak for Maya. Denise looked from face to face as the room she had built from fear began to empty around her. Marcus raised one hand before the voices became chaos. Every claim will be handled properly. Tonight is not for revenge. Tonight is for truth. Then he turned toward Maya. The hall turned with him. Maya Johnson, Marcus said, you are not a thief. You are not a liar. You are not a beggar chasing rich people. You were a young woman trying to care for her brother, and this room owes you respect. Maya's shoulders shook. She looked at the same people who had almost believed the worst about her. This time, she did not lower her head. Tears ran down her cheeks, but her voice stayed clear. I only wanted to sell oranges. No one laughed. No one whispered. No one looked away fast enough to escape the shame. Evelyn stepped closer and held out her hand. She waited. Maya looked at it for a long moment, then placed her shaking fingers in Evelyn's palm. The old woman bowed her head over Maya's hand like she was holding something sacred. Denise tried one last time. You still do not know who she is. Marcus looked at the bracelet, the old photo, and Grace's letter. No, but we know who she is not. She is not what you called her. Officer Reed moved beside Denise. Miss Carter, I need you to come with me and give a formal statement. Denise stared at the cameras, the donors, the pastors, the workers, and finally at Maya. For the first time, Maya did not look away. There was no hate in her eyes, only pain and dignity. Denise walked from the stage with Officer Reed beside her, not dragged, not harmed, but stripped of the power she had used to crush others. The doors closed behind her. The hall stayed silent. Then Caleb began to cry. Maya, he whispered, they know now. Maya knelt beside him and touched his face. Yes, she said, they know. Evelyn wiped her tears and looked at both of them. There is still healing to do. There are still records to restore. There are still answers we must find the right way. Marcus picked up the folder from the table and placed it gently in Maya's hands. Tonight, we start with safety. For you. For Caleb. For the truth. Maya held the folder, the bracelet warm on her wrist, Grace's letter resting beside it. She looked at Evelyn, then at Marcus, then at the open doors leading out of the hall. For the first time, the next step did not look like another punishment. It looked like a door. Evelyn whispered, come with us, child. Not because the story is finished. Because you should not have to walk into tomorrow alone. Come with us, child. Not because the story is finished. Because you should not have to walk into tomorrow alone. Evelyn Whitmore's words followed Maya Johnson as she stepped out of Whitmore Civic Hall with Caleb beside her. The night air felt different on her face. Not rich, not easy, just lighter. Behind her, the hall doors closed on the room where Denise Carter had lost the power she used to shame people. In front of her, a black car waited under the Atlanta lights. Maya held the folder Marcus had given her against her chest. Safety papers, medical contacts, copies of Grace Johnson's letter. The first steps toward restoring a name the world had tried to damage. Caleb looked up at her from his chair. His eyes were tired but calm. Are we really going with them? Maya looked at Evelyn, then at Marcus, then at the old bracelet on her wrist. Evu, the half-circle mark, the hidden seam that had carried fear for years. Just for tonight, Maya whispered. Marcus opened the car door and stepped back. Tonight is enough. That night, Caleb did not sleep under a leaking ceiling. He slept in a quiet medical room arranged by Marcus without cameras, speeches, or pity. A nurse checked his breathing. A doctor spoke to Maya, with respect. No one called him a burden. No one called her a liar. Maya sat beside his bed, still in her faded dress, watching his chest rise and fall. When Caleb finally slept, she lowered her face into her hands and cried. Not from fear this time, from release. Evelyn sat beside her in silence. After a while, Maya whispered, I do not know how to accept this. Evelyn answered, Then do not accept everything. Accept one peaceful night. Maya looked at Caleb's sleeping face. One peaceful night, she repeated. In the days that followed, the truth moved slowly, but it moved. Pastor Samuel gave his statement. Officer Reed corrected his report. The market board received the footage, the false complaint, and the witness account. Denise's stall remained suspended while her threats against vendors were reviewed. Her name no longer made people bow. It made them remember. Maya did not ask what happened to her every day. Revenge did not feed Caleb. Hatred did not heal old wounds. Peace did. The old photo of Grace holding baby Maya near the iron gate was placed in a protective frame. Grace's letter was copied and sealed properly. The bracelet was examined only after Maya agreed. No one grabbed her wrist. No one treated her like property. When the seam opened, a tiny strip of paper rested inside, fragile and faded. Grace's handwriting was small, but clear enough to break Maya's heart. She was loved before she was lost. Maya pressed the paper to her chest. Mama, she whispered, you did not fail me. Evelyn turned away, crying. I lost years with you. Maya looked at her. Grace gave me years too. Evelyn nodded through tears. Then I will honor her. Caleb grew stronger. Slowly, not like a miracle in one night. Like a boy finally given the care he should have had all along. He laughed one morning when Maya spilled orange juice on her dress. The sound was small, but it filled the room like music. Maya froze when she heard it. Caleb smiled. What? She wiped her eyes. I forgot what your laugh sounded like. He reached for her hand. Then, I will practice. Weeks later, Maya returned to the Atlanta market. She came without fear, but not without memory. The same pavement was there, the same corner, the same place where Denise had crushed her receipt and called her trash. Maya stopped beside that spot. Her hand shook once. Marcus noticed. We can leave. Maya shook her head. No, I need to stand here and not be ashamed. A vendor lowered her eyes. Maya, I am sorry. Terrence stood nearby, unable to meet her face. Me too. Maya looked at them both. Her voice was quiet. Tell the truth before someone is broken next time. Terrence nodded. I will. Maya did not smile, but she walked forward. That was enough. Months later, a small shop opened near the market lane. The sign above the door read Grace's Oranges. Not Whitmore. Not Carter. Grace. The woman who had raised Maya with cracked hands, empty pockets, and a love stronger than fear. Inside the shop, oranges filled clean wooden crates. Sunlight came through the front window. Caleb worked behind the counter after school, healthier now, teasing Maya whenever she counted change too slowly. Evelyn visited every week. Sometimes she sat by the window with one orange in her hands, remembering the day she had sat outside the market dressed like a beggar and a poor girl had fed her with nothing to gain. Marcus handled the legal restoration quietly. No grand announcement. No parade. Just corrected files, proper tests, protected records, and a family truth placed back where it belonged. On the wall behind the counter hung 3 things. The faded photo, Grace's letter, the old bracelet with E.W., the half-circle mark, and the seam that no longer felt like danger. Under them, Maya placed a small card. Kindness is never wasted. One afternoon, a little girl came into the shop with 3 coins in her palm. Her dress was old. Her shoes were dusty. Her eyes stayed on the oranges, but she was afraid to ask. Maya knew that fear. She had worn it. She had sold through it. She had slept beside it. The child lifted her hand. Is this enough for one? Maya looked at the coins, then at the girl, then at the bracelet on the wall. The past did not disappear. It became a door. Maya filled a small bag with oranges and placed it gently into the child's hands. It is enough today. The girl blinked. But this is more than one. Maya smiled softly. Then share one with someone hungry. Evelyn, sitting near the window, covered her mouth. Caleb leaned against the counter and whispered, "That is how it started." Maya looked at him. Yes, with one orange. Outside, the market moved around them. Cars passed. Vendors called out. Life continued. But Maya Johnson was no longer the girl begging a cruel crowd to believe her. She was no longer a poor seller crushed under a rich woman's lie. She was a sister, a daughter of love, a woman with a name, a family, a shop, and peace. She had not become valuable because rich people found her. She had always been valuable. The truth only forced the world to see it. Never look down on the poor because their clothes are faded. Never judge someone by a torn bag, a broken card, or a bruised orange. Truth may be delayed, hidden, mocked, and stepped on, but truth does not stay buried forever. Those who plant shame will one day stand inside it. And those who give with a clean heart, even when they have almost nothing, will be seen at the right time, by the right eyes, in a way that can change everything.